Vikings are trying to move up into the top 5 according to numerous reports. A lot of speculative type stuff. We're in the middle of smoke season. We're at the beginning of smoke season, quite frankly. But this move right here is pretty evident that the Vikings are trying to solve their quarterback problem via the draft, which is the best news we could have hoped for. We did a Panic Chamber episode on JJ. Not to say he was an avoid or a bust, but to be concerned, to be looking into the situation, to be worried and concerned about whether the Vikings knew what they were doing. And we don't know fully if they are in proper thinking mode, but this trade right here, Vikings received a 23, the 232. Texans received a 42 and 188 and a 2025 second round pick. I like this move for the Vikings. I don't know why the Houston Texans decide to go down this road. To be honest with you, they've been making great moves. Wasn't a huge fan of them not going after Barkley. Not a huge fan of this move. So 2 moves maybe you could say the Texans, I think, that had a little baby misstep on, but the team's phenomenal. The Texans defense looks phenomenal. Top 5, dare we say. The Texans offense is going to come for everybody. This is an amazing squad. This amazing club from top to bottom. Amazing coach. And it's going to be an amazing year for the Houston Texans. But I like this move for the Vikings, and it gives the Vikings firepower to give the 23 overall. We got to fix the draft order now. 23 overall goes to the Minnesota Vikings. Okay, so let's actually do this right now. We'll drop this in here. 23 overall goes to the Minnesota Vikings, and then we have a potential 23 and 11 being traded for a top 5 pick is what we're kind of thinking. What the news world is speculating could go down. So let me fix this. 23 overall. There you go. The new draft order right in front of your face there. It's going to get quite interesting. And we've got Tee Higgins trade rumors, conversations to have. A lot of rumors buzzing around right now on news wires about Tee Higgins getting traded. And, that's hard to imagine. But at the same time, this man wants top 5 wide receiver money. The Bengals don't want to pay that. Nobody wants to pay that. The problem with the Tee Higgins trade, though, is that Tee Higgins is going to want to contract. The team that acquires him is going to want to lock him down. You don't necessarily trade draft capital for a franchise-tagged wide receiver. Usually, almost 100% of the time, if a franchise-tagged wide receiver, running back, gets traded to a new team, right when the deal gets announced, this trade is taking place, there is an immediate unveiling of the new contract. So basically, the team receiving Tee Higgins would iron out a long-term deal ahead of the trade, and then execute the trade once the contract is in place. So it makes it a complicated situation to actually envision Tee Higgins getting traded. The Fantasy Football Show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Well, not as much news going on right now as previous shows, but that doesn't mean the topics can't get just as crazy. Doesn't mean we can't come in here and discuss some of the most important stuff relating to the 2024 fantasy football season, like JJ, who's throwing the ball to JJ, where we drafted JJ. This trade right here by the Minnesota Vikings makes me feel very confident that they're going to try and solve the quarterback position via the draft. They can do so with this number 11 overall pick. Let me go ahead and take care of this right here. Cleveland no longer is involved in that. Houston, this is from Houston, so I might keep Houston there just to keep tabs on where these things came from. You know what? Let's just get rid of it right now. Okay, so Houston trades the 23 overall pick to the Vikings. There's the exchange I told you about a second ago. Vikings now have 11 and 23. They got a lot of maneuverability to try and get up into this 5-4-3 area. Now, the problem is New England seems like the only team, unless Washington or New England trades for Justin Fields, which right now we don't have any word on that. But if one of these teams trades for him, then they are capable of trading down, right? So if the New England Patriots traded, let's say, for Justin Fields, they wouldn't need this pick for their quarterback. Or if New England says we want Penix Jr. or Bo Nix, we don't want Drake May, we want JD5. We've heard New England potentially wants to trade down if they can't get JD5. And let me just warn everybody, JD5 is the top player overall in the entire NFL draft. There's no arguing this. And soon everyone's going to come to the realization that he is the number 1 overall quarterback and number 1 overall player in this draft. He's better than Lamar Jackson in the making. And it's going to happen in front of everybody's face once he has pro days and starts looking at people start looking at him differently. They start seeing this man throwing missiles all over the field. His touch is amazing. His ability to scramble is amazing. He's a drop back passer, not a gadget quarterback. Not saying Lamar Jackson is a gadget quarterback, but Lamar Jackson is not thought to be an elite passer. He's thought to be a good passer and an elite runner and an elite weapon. JD5 can be an elite thrower and an elite runner. He can be the combination of the both and be as good as on either level. I believe JD5 will go to Washington. I think this entire organization knows what they're doing. And people can crap on the Eckler signing, but it was a great move considering the cost. It was like a zero cost proposition. It was an all upside proposition, all upside. It was a great move by the Washington Commanders. No matter how it ends up fantasy-wise, bringing Eckler in from a football perspective was genius. Okay, this Washington commanding team, this football team, the Washington Presidents. Remember, they're going to name them the Presidents, the Commanders, the football team. We like the Presidents. that was my favorite name for them. The Commanders. Adam Peters, this GM genius at the top of all this. You got Peters, you got Kingsbury, you've got an amazing little tripod of GM and coaching that is now in Washington in place. Dan Quinn, defensive-minded. Raheem Morris and Zach Robinson, same concept. McDonald, same concept. Ryan Grubb is the new OC. Same thing going on with DeMeco Ryans in freaking Houston. It's a blueprint. It's a blueprint that's working. It's a blueprint that's successful. If you get the right, massively brilliant OC in place, you don't need your head coach to be the offensive mind, and it allows him to do different things to create a more balanced football team. And if it's done properly, it's starting to become the new formula. And when we look at this situation here, and we start to ask ourselves, if New England, I don't know why I went on that tangent, but back on point, if New England decides they want to trade down and go get another, we're talking about JD5. So if JD5 goes to New England's out of luck, and they will, because Adam Peters is a genius and he knows JD5 is the best thing. Maybe he wants Caleb, I don't know, because of Kingsbury. Kingsbury's very close to Caleb. He was his coach at USC, his QB coach. So everyone knows that Kingsbury wants Caleb, but it doesn't mean that Peters wants Caleb. So no matter what, I think Chicago's going Caleb, in my opinion. I think they're trading Fields, whether it's for pennies on the dollar after the draft or whether it's before the draft. I do believe we might have some crazy news in the next 2 days, maybe 48 hours, where a Fields trade does end up happening. Maybe a team buys him as a competitive player to add to their roster to compete for the job and not a starting quarterback. And once he becomes that valuation of a backup or a potential backup, which is a travesty that the league would view him that way. Just the same thing where logic didn't play into effect when Lamar Jackson was franchise tagged and could be had for 2 first-rounders and not one NFL team went after him. It was embarrassing. It's embarrassing to be a fantasy football analyst that I believe knows more than half of the GMs and decision makers in the NFL when you see something stupid like that unveil or not unveil. So in the case of Fields, and nobody viewing him as a potential, Miami Mike not viewing him as a potential quarterback solution for a very complicated QB situation he's got, for the Rams to go after Jimmy G instead of maybe Fields and not load up, and maybe Stafford retires after a year, for the Rams to want Jimmy Garoppolo, who they just signed, I'll talk about that in a second, instead of bringing in Fields for a 3rd rounder, is embarrassing. The Seattle Seahawks not going after him and instead wanting to do some sort of, and I like Sam Howell, I'm not saying that's not a good move, but Sam Howell and Geno is your future. Why not make it Geno and Fields? Why not bring in Fields anyway? For the New Orleans Saints to have Derek Carr and not want Derek Carr and Fields. For the Las Vegas Raiders to have O'Connell and Fields or O'Connell. For Denver not to just go all in because you had Russell Wilson. Now you have nobody. And you have no for sure guarantee of what you're getting in the draft. You're getting the scraps, the leftovers, the last quarterback, not your decision. This is embarrassing. For the Jets to not say, hey, Aaron Rodgers might go become a VP candidate, or if he gets hurt, he's older. Let's not go get Fields and back up that situation. That's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed right now to say that these people don't know how to make decisions. I'm embarrassed. Everyone's mothers on the board here should be ashamed of their children that are in decision-making modes here and not going after Fields for a third-round pick. It's ridiculous. My point being, New England, if they don't trade for Fields and JD5 gets taken, they might look at 11 as an attractive place to be so they don't have to force themselves to take Drake May if that's what they feel. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. That just seems to be how New England's viewing Drake May. So Minnesota, going into this 3 spot and giving up this 23, it makes sense for Minnesota to do that. It makes sense for New England, I guess, to do that in their mind if they don't want Drake May. But then again, it's like, why not take Marvin Harrison Jr. here and trade for freaking Justin Fields? I don't know what they're thinking. But it does feel like the Minnesota Vikings, whether it's Penix Jr., Bo Nix, or Drake May, is going to put JJ in a better position than we all had feared a couple days ago. And it was natural to fear that. It was natural to have that conversation. And I still have that fear. Nobody should feel like this is all put to bed. This concern is absolutely out the door and we can put it behind us. We don't know what's going to be in store for JJ. What if they take JJ McCarthy at number 3? What if the Vikings continue to show they don't really know fully what they're doing? They have a plan. The plan could be wrong. They take JJ McCarthy. Some of you love JJ McCarthy, but I don't want JJ McCarthy as my quarterback slinging the rock over to JJ. I don't want JJ to JJ. I don't want that. I don't think that has a nice ring to it. Last time we had something like that, it was Pickett to Pickens, and it didn't work out too well. Let's not try and tempt fate twice and throw JJ and JJM together and make this thing unfold the same way. I don't like it. I only want Penix Jr., Bo Nix, maybe Drake May, or Justin Fields throwing the football to JJ. And I believe there's a high percentage chance one of those things happens now that the 23 and 11 pick belong to the Minnesota Vikings. So very, very good news versus, what we thought was going in a wrong direction. Bad news the other day. It doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet. It still means JJ is still a bit of a risk and on some level for sure. But it doesn't mean that he's so risky you don't take him at 5 overall, 6 overall. It just means, are you at number 2 overall contemplating going Bijan in a Dynasty startup and contemplating going JJ? You're not crazy to go Bijan. In a redraft, you're not crazy to go Breece Hall, Kyron Williams, Bijan Robinson. Go with one of the RBs that are going to fly off the board really quickly and say, you know what, I'm going to grab my wide receivers in rounds 2, 3, 4, whatever. It's not crazy. It's not crazy, and the risk level here is enough to say that that's what we're talking about. There's no panic on JJ to the point where we're not taking him or calling him a bust. I mean, anybody that says JJ is completely QB-proof has got goggles on, and anybody that says JJ is going to bust has got goggles on or got some sort of vendetta against the man. So that's my take on JJ. I really am excited about the fact that they are proactively trying to get higher in the draft to ensure they get the quarterback they want. Kenny Pickett is now a Philadelphia Eagle. This is like what maybe he is good. Like maybe Ron Navy, if he's in here, has been right that Pickett's a better talent than we've been made to see. And who knows? So he goes to back up. He goes back to back up a very, very talented Jalen Hurts that'll never relinquish the job. But if he was ever to get banged up, maybe we see Kenny Pickett come out and be a Gardner Minshew for the Eagles. I don't hate it. He's not a horrible quarterback, but he's definitely, in my opinion, not a top 15 NFL quarterback. That's why he's a backup. Okay, he's not even arguably a top 20 quarterback. But that's why he's a backup. But is he a good backup? Sure. Is he any different than any other backup? Probably a little better than the average backup. This guy's got starter experience. He's got a little fight in him, a little dog in him. And I think that's okay. That's a good move for the Eagles. I don't like the move that the Rams made. I'll tell you that right now. I think the Rams put themselves in a little pickle here. You think you can win a couple games with Jimmy Garoppolo? First of all, what's Jimmy Garoppolo going to steal from this team? Goes back to the same division he was in. In San Francisco, fans are just pointing their finger, laughing. They acted like they didn't hate this guy. Every time I said Jimmy Garoppolo is not even a starting quarterback when he was starting for the Niners, everybody ripped me to shreds. I'd go on to IG Lives with my boy Raj and C-Mac in the Niner rooms, and these guys would rip me to shreds saying, oh, you just hate Jimmy G. You're just a Niner hater. I'm not a Niner hater. I like a lot of Niners. I was one of the biggest supporters of Deebo Samuel, especially when he was going through his holdout. And not to mention he was a moon man last year, and he exploded and had a great year. Not to mention a lot of other things, but Jimmy Garoppolo is not a good quarterback. And I said that for years. And now this man goes to back up Stafford. I don't like it. But then again, if Stafford goes down, all hell's going to break loose anyway. So it almost doesn't matter. It's almost a nothing burger. But I don't like him. I don't like Ritter. Desmond Ritter's on my Cardinals as a backup quarterback, and now Jimmy Garoppolo's in there in McVay's system. I don't like it at all. Maybe he's there to just spill the beans on the Niners offense. I don't know. But Jimmy Garoppolo's garbage. He's not even good enough to be a backup quarterback. Like Kenny Pickett's twice the quarterback of Jimmy Garoppolo. Garoppolo's garbage. Absolute straight garbage. Eagles, pass rusher, staying in Philly. Look, the Eagles know what they're doing. The Eagles are building something special, and they're retooling something special, quite honestly. And I'm just excited about everything that the Eagles are doing. Did it suck to lose Kelsey? Sure. But are they going to be okay? Absolutely. So that's the news. There's not a ton to go through. More so this JJ situation. We spent 17 minutes, just breaking down a majority of that, and there wasn't a lot of news. So clearly this is important news, or we wouldn't have been here for 17 straight minutes. But now the phone lines are open, and I would love to talk with all of you about what you make of free agency so far, what you believe is going to happen with the Minnesota Vikings situation. I would love to kind of focus on that a little bit from a few of the early callers. So if maybe you've got a question about your mom's league or something, you could maybe put that selfishness aside and say, hey, let me ask a quick question about JJ or make a prediction here. Then I'll ask, hey, should my mom be trading a kicker for a tight end? I don't really know what I should be doing.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
All right. So dial in. Jimmy 5 to 6 years ago was 100% a starting QB. If you say so, Jolts. Maybe pre-ACL he had a moment. He was Kenny Pickett good. He was as good as Kenny. Let me put it that way. He was one of the back end 20 to 32 QBs, maybe 22, maybe 24. Let's push it. Let's not get crazy. 24 to 32 QBs where Kenny Pickett is. That's where Jimmy was pre-ACL tear. Remember, he's always been a system guy. He has represented the system. He can only be as good as the system he's in, and that's just the end of the story. There's nothing to show for. Okay, Jimmy was not a good quarterback. He was a system quarterback that developed in a system that made him. It masked every deficiency. There was a mask around it. It was disguised. What's up, Scuba Steve? You're live.
Hey, Smitty, what's going on, my man?
What's up, my guy?
Nothing, man. I'm kind of feeling pretty bad for Herbert, man. I mean, it looked pretty good with Harbaugh in there. It seems like he knows what he's doing, but man, doesn't look like he. You ever watch Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? You know that meme that's going around, that meme that everybody puts up with Will Smith, and like there's like nothing inside the room. It's kind of like Herbert, where he's just like looking at his wide receiver room, like. Here he is, just staring there, and then you look at all the scrubs that he's got.
Let's put this in perspective really quickly, though. Okay. He lost Mike Williams. Mike Williams was coming back from an ACL tear, cannot stay healthy, and is garbage. Okay, so you took that off the board. Keenan Allen is turning 32 years old, walking into the season. It might be a half a year he plays healthy, and then a half a year he plays injured. So 32 years old, I'm not saying that I wouldn't want him. I'm not saying I wouldn't want to potentially have this guy as a 4th round, trade. Like, that's a great move. That's a great gamble to make for the Chicago Bears. I'm not trying to crap on that. But that's what he lost, okay? You're still probably getting Neighbors or Odunze unless the Chargers do something really stupid. But you're probably getting Neighbors or Odunze. You still have Quentin Johnson. I'm not saying I love Quentin Johnson, but you've lost Keenan Allen, who's 32 years old. So just putting that in perspective. But to your point, because I agree with the majority of what you said, and I've said it for months, is everybody expecting Herbert to be a top 5 quarterback is delusional. Like, Herbert's never going to be an elite quarterback to the tune of the elite quarterbacks that we talk about every single day in the bucket of Mahomes, Hurts, Josh Allen. Like, he's never going to be there. Why? Because he's now in an offense that will probably be successful, meaning Harbaugh's going to have a long tenure in LAC. He's not going to fail. He's a good coach. But they're going to run a very vanilla offense. This is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers feeling kind of offense, a successful Matt Canada offense in a way. It's going to be very balanced. It's going to have a lot of running. It's probably going to have a running back by committee on top of a running back by committee. I imagine there's going to be at least 2 running backs involved, maybe 3. Blake Corum getting drafted on top of everything else. Gus Bus, which I don't like that. This is a situation that in my opinion is going to be very bland. And it's going to be maybe a winning formula, but it's going to be a bland defensive Michigan football type formula. So anybody that was expecting Herbert to explode off this news that Harbaugh is the head coach is delusional. Unfortunately, like not in a bad way or not in a mean way. I'm just saying they're looking through goggles that are like, oh, well, the Chargers, it's gonna be great. They're gonna be great, probably. Maybe not right away. I think people should temper their expectations, but they'll be good football. This is and I know people are gonna say, what about he coached pro football before Smitty? Like I'm some idiot. I know that, but what he is now is different than what he was then, and I don't think he comes back in and becomes a different coach that he hasn't been for years and years and years. I think he translates a lot of what's going on with his current thinking with college football and translates it into pro football. And I just think that we're not going to see Herbert as crazy good as people think he could be. But, bro, you add Neighbors or Odunze to this lineup and Quentin Johnson, then what's the problem, though? You know what I mean? Like, it's still very good. That's a good receiving core. You know what I mean? It's not that bad.
My thing is the way that, like, I know it was his rookie year, but when Quentin Johnson had that opportunity to step up, man, I looked at least in the beginning that he looked like he was like almost like Kevin White. I mean, I know it's like one season, but like he's like dropping passes and stuff. He had like a couple different times where Herbert did put the ball into him in the numbers.
I don't like him. He's a body catching mediocre guy right now. Could he develop? Maybe, but Quentin Johnson has got to work on so many things, bro. But he's like an okay wide receiver. I'm just saying he's an okay, decent prospect. You still can't give up on him yet, and you're about to get Neighbors or Odunze. So yeah, wouldn't shock me though if he took Brock Bowers and everyone's like, "What in the hell? What wide receivers are we getting? A couple rookies, and that could still work out. It's a really good rookie class, but and then we got the whole like, look, I know it's conspiracy theory. Mark Cleveland in the house, by the way. Mark Cleveland, I appreciate you being here. Where you been, pal? This is one of those situations where we're kicking around our own smoke. Okay, so I'm gonna unveil some smoke right now. I'm gonna kick some up. Here we go. The Chargers. I mean, who's to say they don't try and get JJ? We talked about this last night. Who's to say there isn't some kind of crazy Tee Higgins trade? Like, we don't fully know what is totally in store here. And if this team was to take Brock Bowers and trade for Tee Higgins and give him a contract, there's so many things that could happen that we can't possibly know are going to happen, not going to happen, be close to happening, and never know they were going to happen right under our nose. There's so many things. Hit that like button. We got 220 people in here and only 46 thumbs up. So wipe your feet. So who the hell knows? The story's not totally told yet. The picture's not completely painted. But right now, I agree with you. Herbert is standing by himself looking at Quentin Johnson, and he's scared to death. I mean, I got a meme I'm about to post on Instagram tonight that makes fun of this whole thing. So I agree with it. I'm just saying that once you put Neighbors or Odunze onto the roster, it's a little different looking. You know what I'm saying? All right, hey, Scuba, hang tight. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there. We got, we had a caller on the line, but they're gone now. Chris, and then I'm going to Travis. Or actually, Travis is a Mars man. Travis, go ahead. Then Chris.
Yeah, so like you said, Minnesota is smart to do this because of the flexibility it gives them. And I was looking at, the moves that have happened and stuff. It could prove to be even more flexibility, given that if we see this many quarterbacks taken up high, then all you need is like one team to take a defensive player and Joe Alt to go. And these wide receivers actually start to fall down a little more. So you could even be Minnesota and be able to trade to like pick 6 with the Chargers and get the quarterback you like possibly, because now Atlanta's probably not taking a wide receiver. Tennessee's probably not taking a wide receiver. And if Arizona doesn't take Marvin Harrison, they're probably trading out. So there's just so much flexibility that Minnesota can jump into now. I think they're going to end up with one of the – I think they probably have their eyes on a couple guys, and they'll end up with one of them.
Yeah. It's kind of tough to know what's going to happen. And like I said, I mean, everybody wants to pretend like JJ's not going anywhere. Debo or Ayuk aren't going anywhere. Higgins isn't going anywhere. Everybody wants to say that, but like everyone needs to take a step back. And this is smoke. This is not like any sort of concrete information. But remember that Tyreek Hill got traded and no one expected it. Remember Aaron Rodgers was supposed to be a Denver Bronco, and then all of a sudden Russell Wilson gets traded. Remember Devontae Adams ends up leaving when we thought there's no way he's going to leave. Aaron Rodgers is returning, and he ends up leaving. It happens every year, and nobody should be sitting here going, this can't happen. Of course it can happen. JJ could be a Charger, or JJ might sign a long-term extension, and they bring in a rookie, and everything's going to be fine. Denver is a wild card for these quarterbacks, and I think still a Fields potential situation. I think, if I had to guess, man, the one team that has the most interest, just like the Atlanta Falcons had the most interest in Fields earlier, and we knew that was his landing spot. If Cousins took it, we knew we might be going down a troubled waters, river. If potentially that Atlanta Falcon quarterback landing spot was taken off the board for Fields. So the only one that feels great is LV. And that was admittedly a place I said he probably wouldn't go because Getsy, who was Chicago's OC last year that failed with Fields, got removed. And he goes over to LV, and then you just logically would say, okay, hey, what did you do last? What was your last project that you worked on? Oh, Justin Fields. How did that work out? Not good. Okay, want to bring him over again? It like logically it doesn't make sense, right? But there's also, I always caveated it when I talked about it, that maybe they both felt like Chicago failed them together, and they do have a rapport, and they do want to maybe work one more time together. Tough to say because we don't know the inner workings of the dynamics in play there. But I believe LV does feel like the most likely to take the chance on him. But it honestly should be Miami. It honestly should be Seattle. It honestly should be, from a backup perspective and preparing for the future, it should be the Jets. But these teams don't think like that. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
So Las Vegas would be done with O'Connell then, because they just gave Minshew $15 million.
Yeah. Probably, but
I guess they could carry 3 guys.
Yeah, I mean, you got to like say, hey, let's let them all compete then and find our best quarterback or whatever.
Yeah.
The best fantasy content that we get to on the moon. Appreciate you, Space Ricky, coming in, moderator and amazing follower. Appreciate you dropping that super chat. Mark Cleveland, where's JJ? Where are you all going? Where you all got JJ going? Like 5, like 4, 5, 6. I'm not dropping them too much, but like we do have a little bit of worry. This has been. Our worry's been a little bit lessened, right? Because of the fact that they look aggressively trying to climb up. They're accumulating ammunition that will get you a move up. You can't move up in the draft very easily you'd have to use future first rounders, and Minnesota might be willing to do that. But to go acquire a pick in the early 20s is a good maneuver, a very obvious telegraph maneuver that you might be trying to compile and get a top 5 pick, which, honestly, New England, and Travis, you're a New England fan, I could definitely see New England doing it. I don't think they seem sold on Drake May for whatever reason, good or bad. I think they look at 11 and 3 as like, hey, we get whatever quarterback we probably really want still, and then we can use this 23 overall pick. I agree with you. We had this conversation earlier. Fields and Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3, and trade for Fields is the much better option, but they clearly, at least right now, don't want Fields, so I don't know what in the hell they're going to do, bro. You need a quarterback, so you have to take a quarterback with the 3 or the 11, so if they feel they need to get something else, at 23, then, and they want to draft Penix Jr. or Bo Nix anyway, or J.J. McCarthy, which I think would be a huge mistake. I kind of sense J.J. McCarthy's their guy. I really do, but who knows? I don't think McCarthy would even fall to 11, though.
I haven't heard anything about them liking McCarthy here. I've heard May, JD5. I've heard a little bit about Penix. But there hasn't been any chatter yet about J. McCarthy. So.
Penix to JJ
but that
would be
doesn't
fun.
mean anything.
I like Penix to JJ.
I'd be happy if the Patriots ended up with Penix.
Yeah.
That'd be the only way I'd be okay with them trading out of that pick, is if they had some type of plan. But still, I'd rather, like I mentioned last night or earlier or whatever, I'd still rather them take Marvin Harrison at 3 and then trade back into the first round and get Penix.
Yeah.
I think a team could do that too.
Yeah, Cardinals draft JJ. Arizona Cardinals draft JJ. What are you talking about, Birdman? JJ McCarthy? You got Kyler Murray. What are you talking about? No, bro. Kyler Murray's,
some people do not like
Kyler Murray's 10 times the quarterback JJ McCarthy is, and I'm even critical of Kyler on some levels. Kyler's top 6
He's
to
a good quarterback, though.
Yeah, he's top 6 to 7 quarterback, like top 6 to 8. I mean, he'll fluctuate because that top 7 to 8 is so good. Like really, I can mock it up and be like, oh, I guess Kyler's 8 or 9, but he's capable of being like 6, 7. He really is. Still very young, but there's no way the Cardinals want to downgrade their quarterback, bro. Come on now.
Do you think there's a possibility one of these top wide receivers drops to the middle of the first round, or do you think someone will probably just trade up and snag them?
Of who?
If out of the 3 top wide receivers, I guess Neighbors, Harrison, and Odunze, like say 4 quarterbacks go in the first 5 or 6 picks, and then Bowers, a lineman, you could be down to 10 or 11 before 2 wide receivers get picked.
Maybe. I think Chargers are going to be the one that kind of throws all of it off. If they go Bowers, then it's like crazy, crazy.
Bowers
like,
are all.
But look, no one's passing on Marvin Harrison Jr. past 4. So it's either the Cardinals take him or the team that trades up takes him, and he could even go 3 or 2 if Fields were to get traded to Washington or New England. I think the Chargers are taking Bowers or Odunze or Neighbors. They would be crazy not to. Birdman, you said draft JJ, so the only logical thing I could assume you meant was JJ McCarthy, because you said draft. What if the Cardinals draft JJ? You meant trade JJ. The Cardinals, we've talked about this before in another show. The Cardinals could trade the 4 for Justin Jefferson, and that's certainly a possibility. And I know people don't think it is, but you're talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. on a fresh, new rookie deal, very reasonable priced player versus JJ commanding the world. And JJ's going to get well over $30 million a year. It's going to be a massive deal. And if you're in rebuild mode, you might look at that as an attractive proposition. So everybody that wants to say it's impossible, no way that happens, blah, blah, blah. Like, you got to understand the context involved and the different moving parts involved for these teams. So it's certainly a possibility. But you got to also ask the Cardinals, would you rather have JJ, which I think some of you might, or a brand new rookie, Marvin Harrison Jr., while you're still rebuilding? So the Cardinals are in try and win now mode. They are, but they're still also building something. And I think, quite honestly, Marvin Harrison Jr. with all the freed up money to go do something else is more attractive to a lot of teams than JJ requesting the bag and being a little older. And so you get a reset on, your wide receiver, longevity. You know what I'm saying? So it's a good question, but yeah, I don't know. What were we talking about? We're talking about the wide receivers. So yeah, Chargers going Bowers, the Dunze or Neighbors, and then let's say they go Bowers for some crazy reason, and we're like, what are they doing? They're giving Herbert. I mean, we like Bowers, we love Bowers, but they're giving Herbert no wide receivers. Then all of a sudden the Giants are like, they're taking one of them. No, like Neighbors to the Giants feels like a lock. Tennessee, obviously not necessarily going that direction now anymore. I don't know where. I mean, a Dunze could fall all the way to 11.
That's what I was wondering.
So then what does Minnesota do if they don't have a quarterback yet? They can't take him. So then, yeah, you're right. There could be some fall. Denver takes a Dunze at 12, and I don't like that at all. Jeez.
Las Vegas could take another wide receiver.
Indy, man. If Indy could trade up. If Indy was smart. I don't care what Michael Pittman Jr. got contract-wise. I could care. That doesn't mean anything to me. I know he's a good receiver. But if a Dunze or Neighbors landed in Indy, go get a Dunze a coffee, Michael Pittman Jr. Go get him a coffee. Go get Neighbors a coffee. It doesn't mean I don't like Pittman Jr. Calm down, Michael Pittman Jr. fans. It's just he doesn't hold the candle to a Dunze. Dunze's the next Jamar Chase if he lands in Indy. But can you imagine? I'd do that. If I'm Indy, I'd trade up. I'd do it. I'd make it do it live.
And I just said it because of how many quarterbacks are here and could go that high. And then I can almost guarantee you that Joe Alt is going in the top 8 or 9. And then there's a good chance like the Jets or someone else takes this Pashana, the second offensive lineman, in the top 10.
What's up, Perps?
Perps teams go that way.
Yeah. A lot of things could happen.
And then that's not even talking about defensive players. So.
What's up, Perps? This comment here, Al Bundy. You know I love you, Al Bundy. I'm not mad at you or whatever, but sometimes I scream at comments no matter who writes them, okay? So just don't take this personally. But zero chance Bowers goes to the Chargers. You sure about that, Al? You sure about that? How do you know that, Al? How do you know that, Al? He's a good selection for anybody, and you might say they need a wide receiver, but wouldn't what they're doing right now prove they don't really care about that right now? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that you could say 0%, Al. 0% chance you actually scored 5 touchdowns in one game, Al Bundy, is what I'd say. Hold on, let me scoot around the phone line real quickly. We've got Aurora, you're live, pal, and then Chris, and then I'll go back to Travis. Aurora,
hey,
you're live.
Hey, Smitty.
Yo.
Look, I don't want to simplify it to a T this much, but I mean, I just think when you look at the Vikings and you look at Josh McCown, the quarterback coach, I mean, he had history with Sam Darnold, and I think they're going to trade up to get Drake May. I think they really like him. But I do think even if they trade up and they don't take Drake May, I also don't want to simplify it this much because there's a lot of things that go into what makes a great quarterback. But I just think the situation is so great. Assuming that Jefferson and everybody's still there, they get Hawkinson back, that, whoever they take, they're going to be in pretty good shape. But I don't think necessarily that they're not going to, try to make an effort here to go up and trade up for Drake May, especially since they just moved up to 11 and whatnot. So that's just my thought. But if I was them, I know Chicago probably won't do this, but I still would love to see Fields in Minnesota. They're probably not going to trade him.
It's the only move.
But
it's the only move. Like,
yeah.
I get. Like, look, we just mapped out how a Dunze could fall to 11. If he doesn't, I mean, I'm not saying you take him, but like, if you wanted to do some sort of JJ trade, if you were like hell bent on not paying JJ, you'd have so many options, in play. But I think they should. I think they should keep their wide receiver tight end rooms exactly the way they are. Because you got JJ, you got Addison, you got Hawkinson. You don't need to do anything. Aaron Jones is older. You can kind of make a run right now. You get Fields in this situation, you're not necessarily in rebuild mode. You're in rebuild mode and now mode, and you got all the pieces to go for it now, in my opinion. I'm not saying the defense is quite there yet or anything like that, but like you're not putting yourself in a weird position. You've already signed Aaron Jones. That was not a future move at all, so that was weird.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like it. I think it's a dumb move because he's got maybe if you're lucky this 1 year left. You might have just wasted your money. You're not even sure if you can stay healthy. But you're going to go after a rookie that maybe Aaron Jones helps develop the rookie, I guess you could say. But I think Fields is the only move for them. It's the smart move. And then you use the 11 and 23 picks on defense, whatever you want to do, offensive line, whatever you want to do to fix this team, the surrounding parts around Fields, around JJ, Hawkinson coming back from injury. It would be the most beautiful way to construct this roster. Use this 11 and 23 on the not-so-sexy picks and go after the pieces that help build the core of the team, the trenches, the defense, everything that would help make Fields successful. It's the smartest move. But I don't think they're going to do it, and I don't know who's going to. I mean, at this point, and again, this goes back to I don't feel wrong. All my Fields talk, everyone's like, I told you Fields wouldn't go anywhere. I already told you there's a real good chance I'm out here on an island by myself like I was with Lamar in terms of creating content around this. The NFL teams don't know what they're doing half the time. They proved that time and time again. It's crazy to me, these decision makers making these and not making these moves that are very, very clear as to what direction you should probably be going. No, nothing's for sure. Players are busts all the time. No one can land everything. Not saying that, but Lamar was the easiest acquisition. 2 future first rounders, 2 future arbitrary first rounders. The guy's NFL MVP. Like nobody, not one team went after him. Fields is not Lamar, but he's capable. And he's broken, and he needs a home, and he needs somebody that can cultivate him and bring him back to life, nurture him. This is a wounded animal right here, and you need to have somebody that can care for this individual that literally needs to come back and become a monster, which he could be.
I mentioned
he's an injured monster. He could be a monster.
Yeah, I mentioned to you the other day that Nick Mullins with Kevin O'Connell, he threw for like 400 yards in the game. So Fields having that type of roster that he's never had before, I totally agree. And I do say to you that I don't know if Chicago would do it, but a good enough offer, yeah, they're going to do it. It doesn't matter if they're in the division. But,
Chicago.
Yeah, I will say one last thing, Smitty. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say Chicago, in my opinion, is not keeping Justin Fields to start him, but they're probably looking at, as of right now, drafting Caleb Williams and trying to trade Fields during the draft, which I think is going to be very easy to do during the draft. They draft Caleb, and all we hear all over the TV is, well, we know what direction they're going in. They're probably fielding phone calls right now for Justin Fields, fielding for Fields. And here we are, and then all of a sudden he gets traded for a third-round pick or whatever. One of these teams that doesn't land the quarterback they want, like he gets traded while we're still in day one inside the teens of the NFL draft. That's how I feel like it could happen. Just because they don't trade him before the draft does not mean that the Chicago Bears are not taking Caleb Williams. But what I can tell you is they're not going to have them on the roster, both of them, walking into week 1. You can't. Because Caleb needs to not be looking over his shoulder, or in the flip side, you can't have Caleb Williams trying to creep into the starting role. Fields is going to start out, and then he goes crazy and plays amazing. And now what do you do with Caleb? They will not be on the same team entering week 1, but they very well could be on the same team for a little while during the NFL draft, and maybe even after. But probably Fields gets traded during the draft. If they can't get rid of him ahead of time. 337 caller, I'm going to put you on hold, but what's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Jack Attack. Call me JRP. I was actually, yesterday, you kind of...
Hold on, Jack, hold on 1 second. I'm going to put you... you're the guy that had the trade? Okay, let's talk about it real quick. Where are you calling from, by the way?
Lafayette. All of us are from Lafayette, Louisiana.
Okay. Now, you're the guy that was involved in that trade that your buddy called in and said, "Hey, should he trade?" Here, let's go over the trade real quick before we even talk about it. Give me the trade.
It was so it's for CD Lamb. I was trying to give him. Let's see. It was
Trash.
A 2024 first, 11th overall, or no, it was actually 10th overall. He screwed it up. A 2024 second. It was Dalton Kincaid and George Pickens.
Okay, and I ruined the trade for you.
You completely no, but I didn't expect that he actually was the mediator in that scenario, and I was trying to get up on his brother, who we were on the phone earlier that day, and he was about to pull the trigger. Then he says, "Let's ask Smitty," and I was like,
"Damn it!"
In my head, I'm like, I don't think Smitty's going to go for this, but let me take the chance. So whatever you were going to say is what we were going to do.
I'm sorry, bro,
Adam
but
didn't help me. Adam didn't help me out. Iceman didn't help me out there.
Yeah, Adam, we got his first name. He said he'd never reveal his first name. You just did. It's Adam. Iceman Adam. Adam, what's up, Adam?
He is cold-blooded.
Yeah, Adam is, that's what I call him, Iceman, huh? Okay, well, yeah, so you called in, Iceman, a.k.a. Adam, called in and said, "Hey, what side do you like?" And I said, "How in the hell can you veto this, number one?" Okay, because that's what he kind of started with, I think. It was almost like a veto thing. You can't veto it. You just can't veto it. You're getting a first rounder. If someone loves Kincaid, Pickens, you can't veto it. But this guy is sandblasting this guy to pieces. And so
he didn't know what to think. At first he was like, "You really want me to ask Smitty this? He's ripping you off and whatnot." I'm like, "Dude, I think you're insane," and he is insane. That he doesn't know what he's talking about. But now I'm basically offering the same thing to him for Christian McCaffrey, but I don't know if I'm offering too much. I'm offering the 1.1 and the 1.11 Dalton Kincaid and George Pickens for Christian McCaffrey.
Wait. Let's back up. So you're giving up the 1.1. The 1.1, which is, and let's put some respect on it. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. Okay, so
I agree.
You're giving up Harrison Jr. Second rounder, Kincaid and Pickens for CMC.
If I get McCaffrey this year, I win the league the next two years.
Do you though? He's 28 years old. You don't know that for sure.
I think he's one of those running backs. At 30, he'll fall off, but next 2 years, I can't see. He looks too good.
Okay, let me just.
I can see injury.
Let me just preface and say this: like the way it sounds like this Mickey Mouse league you got there with Iceman running things, Adam. This thing could fall apart at any moment. So I might treat this like a redraft league. you might take CMC.
It's like a contract. It's a 4 year, then we reassess. 4 years, then we reassess. And we're in our second year.
I knew it. So this is a two. So this is really a two. So this is really a two. Hold on. This is why I asked qualifying questions. Everybody was ready to jump down your throat and say you were getting ripped off. But Smitty said, "No, I smell something funny here. This is not a dynasty league. This is a 4-year league where you all redraft because everybody hates their teams and everybody votes to redraft after the 4th year. Am I right?"
You're a smart man, Smitty.
Then in that case, CMC side probably wins if this is more of a redraft league. But
I'm not going to be the one to back out. But you sniff this out. You know, I could see it. The writing's on the wall with some of these teams.
Yeah, they're all going to vote to redraft because they're going to be like, yeah, let's redraft, let's go redraft, let's go and do that, let's start it over. You don't play in a league that you're going to vote to whether you continue or not after 4 years. Man, I sniffed this out from a mile away. I would say that
Am I giving up too much?
If we were talking a true dynasty league, this side wins by, I would say, a lot. Second rounder, Kincaid, Pickens, Marvin Harrison Jr. Give that to me all day long. But if this is a true redraft league, then I don't know. I don't know that you're gonna be so pissed assembling this monster team, and they're gonna take Harrison Jr. right from you, throw him right back into the draft pool.
Well, can I ask you something else? Should I offer the same thing, the same package for CD? Because I believe he'd take it.
I'd rather have Harrison Jr. Well, I don't know. In this context, I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb, because you don't know how long it could take Harrison Jr. to get to JJ levels if he's going to. So I'd rather have CeeDee Lamb. If this is what could be a 1 to 2 year league max, I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb. I will say this, though, about the CMC Harrison Jr. debate here on a 2-year perspective. I think there's a chance Harrison Jr. is as good as, not as CMC if he stays healthy all year, but a banged up 28-year-old CMC. There's a world where even in just year 1, this side does beat this side if Christian McCaffrey can't stay healthy. But if we are thinking redraft, Christian McCaffrey is probably the safer move. He's the number 1 overall redraft player. So if you're thinking from a 1 to 2 year perspective, and then all these guys want to redraft Adam and the boys, then you probably are being smarter going CMC, but it doesn't mean it's going to work out, bro, because CMC's 28 years old.
I agree. I'm pulling the trigger on it, and I even got to convince him on this. I'm not sure if he's going to be sold on it, but I just hope I'm not giving up too much.
Well, you are. You are if it's a true dynasty league, because Marvin Harrison Jr. could be a top 5 overall player. Now the question is, do you make this move, and then now you made the move, they all want to vote to keep the league going? Because you got the old team, and then you just started giving people young pieces. Kincaid.
No, but Smitty, my starting line, Christian McCaffrey by far would be the oldest person I'd have on my team.
All right. Well, you got my answer. I appreciate you. Sorry I squashed your trade earlier, pal. Call back anytime, Jack. Appreciate you.
All right. Have a good one.
Later. All right. Let's go over to. Yeah, go ahead, Travis.
Real quick, did you see the Jets signed Tyron Smith? It's good for Breece Hall.
Nice. No, I was in the middle. I was in the middle of that. I was in the middle of sniffing out his situation, like a.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like I could just tell something was up with this league, and that it's going to crumble within 2 years. But yeah, that's a tough one. Like even if, I don't know what you guys think about it, but even if, let's say you thought there's a real risk that in 2 years' time the league could crumble, Marvin Harrison Jr., Kincaid, Pickens versus CMC is still very arguable if Marvin Harrison Jr. comes out and becomes a top 5 wide receiver right away.
I like that side.
You know,
yeah, I like that side.
Also, if Jack's still watching, if you think that maybe you're trying to talk yourself into that these guys are going to re-vote to redraft, and it's not going to be a true dynasty league, make sure you're not convincing yourself of that to try and get the deal done. Because there's nothing better than the 1.1 in a dynasty league, bro. Like if this league is going to remain, I mean, why in the hell wouldn't you want Christian McCaffrey? Why wouldn't you want Marvin Harrison Jr. over Christian McCaffrey? If this is a true, has a real good shot at being a long-term dynasty league. But why would you play in a league where you build for the future and you could have it all ripped out from under you, and you're going to re-vote every 4 years whether you're going to redraft or not? That sounds like a bunch of, no offense, Adam and the boys, Iceman and the boys. This sounds like a I don't know, a non-committal commitment. It's not a big commitment to the league, and it sounds like a bunch of backtracking bobbies. You know what I mean? Like why would you want to start building with that uncertainty? You know, I don't like it. You could say it's a strategy, but I think it also could keep the group together though long, if you really think about it though, I guess, because a lot of times dynasty leagues will crumble anyway, and if at least you know there's a window. But why not just call it a 4-year keeper league? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it's a new league at that point.
Like, I don't get it. It's crazy. All right, Scuba, you got anything else?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about the Arizona Cardinals a little bit.
All right.
what do you think about like some of these moves that happened? Because you guys got rid of Rondale Moore and everything. What are you expecting them to do? You're expecting them that Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be there? Or is there anything that you like? How do you think that they're going to build a team around Kyler Murray?
I don't know, bro. To be honest with you, the Cardinals are very unpredictable when it comes to drafting. They drop the ball quite a bit. I've been wanting them to take Breece Hall. I wanted them to take Najee Harris back in the day. I wanted them to do a bunch of different things. They continue to do the opposite of what I want. I think that they do need a wide receiver so badly that this is painfully obvious now. The only thing that scares me is that they trade down, and I don't necessarily mind a Dunze over MHJ, honestly. Like, I love a Dunze that much. But I think they're crazy. If they don't get something significant because of the demand of that trade down, the demand of Marvin Harrison Jr., the value, if you don't get like a future first rounder to trade down to get a Dunze, then it's not worth it. So I think they do take him. The only threat is to somebody above at 3 or 2 or 1, like the Bears, if they did keep Fields and then take Marvin Harrison Jr. The Bears would probably trade down to 2, then consider to trade down to 3. The reason you do that is if you think about it as you're Chicago and you know that Kingsbury wants Caleb, but you don't know if Adam Peters does though. But let's say you feel very confident that Marvin Harrison Jr. is not going to go, whatever. So Chicago trades down to 2. They get a future first rounder or whatever. Like they just robbed the Washington Commanders. They give Caleb to Kingsbury and the Washington Commanders, and JD5's all the New England Patriots want, we hear. So then you trade down to 3 to give the New England Patriots JD5, and now you accumulate more. And then you draft Marvin Harrison Jr. at 3, and the Cardinals are crying. I'm crying. Everyone's crying. And then now you have Fields and Marvin Harrison Jr. and a whole bunch of draft capital. That would be the smartest way to operate and navigate this situation if you were to do that. I don't know that they will. I don't know that these teams like New England and Washington will not be, understanding of what they're doing. And they say, hey, the fact that, we know you want to trade down means you're not going Caleb. So we're just going to wait at 2 and get Caleb. But Washington might be fearful that they trade them with Minnesota or something, and then Washington loses Caleb. So you do it if you felt like there was competition for the pick. It'd almost be like a safeguard move. Like you're going to go get the number 1 pick so no one else can. But the Cardinals should take Marvin Harrison Jr. If they don't take Rome Odunze, I'd be fine with that. I love Rome Odunze. So that would be what I would do. What do they do? I don't know, bro. But you got McBride, you have Odunze or Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyler. You got a nice little squad here. I think the Cardinals are set up very, very nicely walking into the future. I'm really excited to be a Cardinal fan.
Yeah, no. Hey, man. Like I said, I definitely like to get the insight from you, man, because I know that you're a big Arizona Cardinal fan. So I'd like to hear from their perspective, because just from the outside looking in, it does make it interesting that they had Rondale Moore, and I don't know if it's because of injury-wise, or because performance-wise, he does have his moments where he's on the field, but it just seems like he a little bit of injury, so maybe that's why they want to trade him away.
And look, I would have been okay with it, get a pick or something. Ritter, I don't want Ritter. I want Ritter anywhere near my lineup. And some could say maybe Ritter's a little better than, we're not judging Bijan for playing at running back 9, which was still very impressive, by the way, considering. But we're not blaming London for crap in the bed. We're not blaming Kyle Pitts for crap in the bed, but we are blaming Ritter 100%. So I will say, is there a chance Ritter is better outside of Arthur Smith offense? Yeah, maybe. And he's not the starter, so I'm not could Ritter come in and win a game or 2, or win 1 out of 3 games, 1 out of 2 games? He runs. He has a little bit of ability. I don't think he's Jimmy G. I think he's better than Jimmy G. I want Ritter over Jimmy G all day long. But I don't want Ritter at all anyway. I'd much rather have had Brissett or Dobbs. They got rid of him. He's a good backup. Guys like that's who I want. But Ritter could be worse. At least he's not starting. I hope that it's not even an issue. Sam Darnold was a horrible backup in San Francisco, and they never had to use him. So I'm just kind of hopeful that whatever this is, it's not even a factor. But yeah, Rondell Moore, he definitely was talented, but he couldn't put it all together, and we moved on. It is what it is.
Yeah, man, no problem, man. I didn't know if there's any type of moves that you guys are doing or anything like that. Because especially even like the Jets too. All that noise about Devontae Adams might be getting moved, and now it seems like all that's put onto a pause too.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying that Tee Higgins could go to the Cardinals. That's a big rumor. I don't think there's any substance to it, but there's a lot of people reporting on it. Probably from the first person that reported on it. There's a couple of people that have mentioned it. I think this is one of those reports here. So it's Arizona Cardinals, Texans, and Falcons. Here are my 3 favorite landing spots for Tee Higgins. So people that write for a blog or they they're involved or they're beat writers or somebody, and they've given their opinion on landing spots. All of a sudden, people start running with that story. They start manipulating the story. They start talking about it. We saw this with what was it the other day? What was it, Travis, that I put up?
Saquon Barkley to the Patriots.
Yeah, Saquon Barkley to the Patriots. Yeah, how that got twisted, and I broke it down. I dissected it. I played investigator in chief, and I went in there and I found the original report. It was on a radio show where somebody said that Saquon Barkley was one of the primary targets, landing spots, and then he listed off 7 of them, or 7 different teams, and they were in one of the primary 7 options of just thought process. And then all these Patriot beat writers and Patriot Instagram pages and Patriot fan pages started taking that report, and they just eliminated all the other names on it and said that the Patriots were the primary landing spot for Saquon Barkley. And it was the exact same terminology and everything, and it came from the source that I found. So I put it all together, and I went backwards, reverse engineered it, and it's crazy where this stuff leads. And all it takes is one person that you kind of trust that just says something according to sources. And they have sources, right? They just read it off of a freaking tweet. Someone else just posted, and that's them saying sources. People use it all the time. According to source, they're a primary target, and everyone's like, hey, did you hear about that? And then the person reports on it, It's a competitive business. All the fan pages want to be the first to report it. So if this fan page is reporting it, they need to report it. And all of a sudden, the Patriots are the top landing spot for Saquon Barkley. And it was all fabricated. You could see exactly where it came from. And I found it when we broke it down. So, same thing with all these other situations. Tee Higgins to the Cardinals, it probably is just somebody cooking up, like that tweet I just showed you, the best landing spots, and then Cardinal pages are like, did you hear this? And it's all over now. Tee Higgins to the Cardinals, have you heard the rumors? There's no rumors. There's no substantial evidence that the Cardinals are in talks with them, but doesn't mean that it can't happen. Remember the Kyle Pitts and Mike Florio from Pro Football Talk. Chris just left. Chris, call back if you want to. I'll throw you on next, Chris. I know you've been waiting a while. Then I'm going to go over to Sick Nasty, Sick Nasty, yeah, he's on the phone. Chris, call back in, and I'll try to get on before work. I'll throw you on, Chris, real quick. Chris, call back. I'll throw you right on. Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, Sick Nasty's trying to get on before he has to go to work.
Yeah, Sick Nasty, real quick, let me just say this. So basically, Kyle Pitts refuted Mike Florio's report where he said that Cousins has already called and asked what Kyle Pitts wants for jersey number 8. And Mike Florio reported this. Kyle Pitts immediately retweeted it and said, you guys will make up anything. So saying it didn't happen. And then later on, they did have a conversation about it. And it was a big media story that Kyle Pitts said, all I want is targets. So you can have my number 8. And that was after the fact. And he did end up going there. And Mike Florio was trying to allude that the trade was going to happen to Atlanta. And he ended up being right in terms of where he said he'd go. But the whole piece before it had no relation to it. So, like, Higgins could go to Arizona, but it doesn't have to do with, I think, the rumors that are necessarily kicking around. Just as logical for Higgins to maybe go there. Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyler Murray, Tee Higgins. Boom. Cardinals have a nice little offense. Sick Nasty, you're live.
Hey, I just got a quick question. I got a trade offer today in the Dynasty League, and I'm a Justin Fields owner. I'm also a Sam Howell owner. Those are my 2 quarterbacks. So I'm in a pickle. I got The offer that I received is me trading away Travis Etienne and the 2.1. I received Jordan Love and the 1.6.
And then 1.6. This is a 1 QB?
Yeah.
Look, man, this is tough because ETN in a 1 QB has a lot more value than Jordan Love, but this move is kind of needed for you, and the 1.6 could be crafty. Like, you turn that into a Dunze or something, all of a sudden I like this move. I think you got to land this. I'm just going to tell you up front for you to recoup what you're really losing. You are losing. Love's got, I don't know what Love's ADP is. I want to say around 6. Round 6, 7, something like that. And ETN's got like very, very unbelievably, good 3rd to 4th round ADP value. He should be higher. He had an amazing year. But it does feel like he's teeter-tottering on maybe them wanting to really do what they said they're going to do the last 2 years, which is give him some relief. They keep running the ball with him and they keep, putting the miles on. So there's a chance that the ETN does drop off a tiny bit and does actually warrant 3rd, 4th round value. And if Love is only a 6th rounder and you've got nothing, it's not crazy, especially if you land this pick. I'd say, if you get Bowers or you get a Dunze or even Thomas Jr., like, or the top running back and you need a running back and you end up getting like Jalen Wright, you could smash with this. So I'll go ahead and I'd say give me Love in the 1.6.
All right, because that would give me the 1.1 and the 1.6, and then I wouldn't have a 2nd round pick. But,
yeah.
That 1.6 would definitely make up for that.
Yeah, understand the risk involved. There's risk involved, but just smash the 1.6 and make that a good pick, and then you're good, bro.
Okay.
I like it.
All right, man.
Hey, Sick Nasty to the moon. You going to work? We going to work now?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it's a good thing I was on hold for a while because I called in when I was in the shower, but I'm out now.
Attaboy. Hey, what type of work do you do? What line of work? You don't have to tell us where. But, I think I've asked you this.
I'm a tool and die guy. Tool
What?
and die maker.
That's right. You told me that before.
Tool. Yeah, I work for a Ford plant.
Attaboy. You've said this before. I don't remember anything. I'll ask you next week. All right. See you later, Sick Nasty.
Yeah. All right, man. See you later.
Right.
Have a good night.
Yeah. Nobody take offense to that. I have so many things coming into my ears and then out the I have to let everything go. I can't retain anything. I really can't. I can't. Miss Smitty will tell me, can you please get the laundry out of the dryer tonight or out of the washer? Put it from the washer to the dryer so I don't have mildew smells on the clothes for work tomorrow. And I'm like, yes, I can do this. I can do this. I know I can do this. If I don't set an alarm, it's not getting done. And then I'm sitting there, I'm still up and she's getting up at like 4 a.m. and I'm still working or something. And she's like, is the laundry moved over? And I'm like, all right, go. I'm going to wrap it up here, guys, and come back tonight. We're going to definitely do a video tonight. We'll probably do maybe a draft, hopefully. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. The link is in the live chat. The link is pinned in the well, it will be pinned in the live chat right now. And it's in the description of every video. Coach Smitty will get it done as well. Maybe we'll do some drafts tonight. Go ahead, Travis. You were going to say something?
I know Ron's been busy with family and stuff. I was hoping he'd be in here tonight so we could hear his take on Pickett. Just curious, because he was still high on Pickett. He still believes in him. But did you see that the Eagles were trying to get Fields, but they couldn't agree on a price with the Bears before they traded for Pickett, supposedly?
Yeah,
so, interesting to see it.
I did hear some rumblings. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how accurate they were, but I mean that's what I think is going to come down to the next phase for Fields is going to be that phase of, okay, what teams now that he's got a new price tag, what teams say let's safeguard our quarterback room, without disrupting it. Because look, I'm not going to say that bringing in Fields behind Tua is going to make Tua's job easier and that he's not going to misstep. But if you're worried about it, you got to do it. You know what I mean? If you're the Rams and Stafford could walk away in a year and you've got this team that's a freaking phenomenal team, why not go get Fields? You know, why do Jimmy G? Why does Jimmy G situate? Why not go get Fields? If you're the Tampa Bay Bucks and, you know, Baker may or may not be, you know, your long-term option, why wouldn't you go get Fields? You could even say this. You could say, hey, Tua, and Fields, it is what it is. You do what we say or we'll bench you. Like, we're trading for you for a third-round pick, so you don't do what we say, we're going to bench you. We're gonna deactivate you. You know, you do what you want, Fields, but here we're acquiring you to be a gadget, you know, Deebo Samuel type wide back. I'm not saying I love that. I'm just saying you could promise Tua he's not a quarterback, you know, and say, like, he's there in case this goes awry. He's our Taysom Hill. And honestly, right, I'd rather have him as my Taysom Hill than watch him sit and never become a starter ever again.
Yeah.
I mean, does anybody disagree with that? Would anybody say, give me, if I'm the Cardinals, give me Justin Fields as a wide back or watch him rot away on some bench? Does anybody, I mean, I'm not saying he's not a starting quarterback, but would anybody rather see him never get a shot again or go play wide back? I'm just saying.
Yeah, the Lions would be a good spot.
Lions would be perfect. Because what if Goff isn't the guy anymore a year from now? He easily could have kind of stopped.
Stuck in the mud with Goff, yeah.
Yeah, Dallas Cowboys. Bring him in. Dak, who knows what Dak is? And you don't have to extend Dak now, you know, yet. You just wait.
Yep. Well,
Baltimore.
The teams can do that easily.
Baltimore, plug and play. If Lamar goes down, shove Fields in. Win playoff games with that. Buffalo, you're worried about Diggs. Bring him in as a wide back. I don't get it. If I was a decision maker, Fields would already be on my team no matter what my team looked like. I don't care if, let's say I have Burrow and I'm the Bengal decision maker. Fields is already on my roster. And I've already had a tough conversation with them. You're going to be doing other things around these parts, Fields. It is what it is. And that if Joe Burrow ever got hurt, you go straight into my lineup and we win playoff games with you, pal. Like, it doesn't matter.
And if he ever was in that situation where someone gets hurt and he goes in, and it's like, you know, a Burrow situation where Burrow's the guy. You know, he's not going to take that job even if Burrow gets hurt. When he comes back, he's the guy. If he plays well, they'll eventually trade him.
Yeah.
You know, when time for contract comes up. So it's like,
by the way,
win-win if he can't find a starting job.
By the way, I hung up on DeBolt yesterday, and I didn't even hear what DeBolt said. But DeBolt said something about, like, hey, I know we don't promote other things on here or something like that. And he said, but, and I think I didn't even hear what he said. I just reacted like I do. And it's the nature of it. I don't even know what he said, but someone said something about, like, he didn't even say the name of anybody. He said something about, like, a GM's name or something like that. And I thought he was still plugging something, so I hit the button and said, DeBolt to the moon. DeBolt, appreciate you. Look, that's the way it goes. Sometimes you get hit with friendly fire. Yeah. No big deal. You just brush it off. Don't complain. He doesn't.
I remember that yesterday. I was like, I don't even think anything just happened.
Yeah, he did. It was a total misfire on my part, but. You know, brush it off, get back up. He'll be fine. The Bolt's a tough guy. He didn't take offense to it. All right, hey, Aurora, final thoughts. Go.
Yeah, my final thoughts to that is I think when you talk about Minnesota, I just wanted to bring up the Aaron Jones part that you mentioned. I actually kind of like that move because I know it's not a future move. I think Alexander Madison, you saw last year, he had issues, and I think when you put him in the backfield, I think that just tells you Minnesota, they know there are a few pieces in their head for competing, not just for a playoff spot, but going deep in the playoffs. So I think they will trade up for a quarterback, but I do like that Aaron Jones move just because I think it just provides more help instead of developing a guy, which you can do under him. I know Ty Chandler will be there, but I think it just helps whoever's quarterback there. But, yeah, that's it, Smitty. I'll tune in tonight.
All right, later, Aurora. Yeah, I mean, it is a cultivating move potentially. Get the quarterback, you know, protected, let him play catch with a running back that's really versed in it. You know, there's some good and bad to it. I agree. But it makes sense for them to go get Fields. I mean, just go get Fields. Go get Fields and start him with JJ. Like, I get so frustrated by this conversation But either way, I'm trading for him. He's already on my roster if I'm a decision maker, and I don't care if he's a wide back. He's on my roster. Scuba, final thoughts, Scuba.
Yeah, just gonna say, man, I'm kind of with you, man. After all the stuff that I've been seeing since like last year, you think about it, right? Look, taking the Atlanta Falcons. I mean, I'm happy for Kirk Cousins, and he signed that big deal. But to put it in perspective, man, I mean, they could have had Lamar Jackson there. They would have gave up like 2 1s, and they would have had Lamar for like less money, and he's a younger quarterback. You don't have to worry about somebody coming off an Achilles tendon injury. So when you look at the whole teams, it's just I don't even know, man. It seems like we all think that they're going to make the smart decisions, and then every year that we go into this, man, it just gets dumber by the day. So
and they would have been so much better probably and they wouldn't have the 8 pick. You know what I mean? So like everyone's like, well, then you wouldn't have the 8 pick, but you probably wouldn't have it anyway if Fields was back there. But we'll see. I mean, I know a lot of people are doubting Fields, and I don't blame them for being pessimistic or cautious with him, but he's broken. Like, I can't emphasize this enough. Fields is in bust mode. Like, I'm not delusional against that. I'm not seeing that. I get it. I know what time it is. But if he goes to the right situation, you can fix him. He goes to the right situation, he can be repaired. So, I think people need to realize that it's sometimes about landing spot more than it's about talent, or it could be just as equally important. You know, you put Tom Brady in a different situation, he would have never evolved. We would never have the GOAT. If you didn't put Kurt Warner on his last chance, it wasn't his first chance. He was actually trying out for teams. If you watch the American Underdog Story, it's an amazing movie. He had a chance and he failed. And then there was multiple teams that were trying him out, and he didn't deliver. He didn't look good. He didn't throw good. He got nervous. Like, Kurt Warner had one more shot, and it was Dick Vermeil shoved him into a game after an injury, and he started week 1, and he went out there, threw an interception his first play, and the offensive coordinator, everybody's like, good God, this is who we're rolling with? We could have made a trade. And what happens? Kurt Warner goes out on the second drive, never looks back, becomes a NFL MVP, becomes one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. Situations, everything. And so, Fields even if it was Arthur Smith there, Fields in Atlanta could have changed everything. And so Fields needs to be somewhere where he can be fixed. If he can't be fixed, he's going to bust. He goes to Denver, I don't know that they've got the right tools or decision-making there, because this is a place that doesn't take care of their quarterbacks. They asked Russell Wilson to rescind his injury clause or they were going to bench him. Does it sound like a place a quarterback should go to? No. So Fields goes to Denver. I'm really worried about him. I like him better in Denver than in Chicago, but I don't want him in Chicago. He busts in Chicago. He's broken in Chicago. He probably has a real hard time in Denver. He goes somewhere like Las Vegas, even though Getsy failed him. Maybe Getsy wasn't all the problem at all. And maybe he does really well in Las Vegas. Maybe Pierce gets this guy motivated, right in line. I like Pierce, and Pierce is a player's coach. He'd be great in Las Vegas, probably. Minnesota would be probably pretty good for him. Throwing to JJ can't be that bad. So Fields is broken. For all the Fields haters out there, he's broken. You're currently correct. He's a bust right now. But he needs to go somewhere else to try and fix all that. All right, Scuba, we'll see you later.
Hey, Smitty, just going to say, with these teams, I know that this guy's broken, but it makes no sense that a guy like Nathan Peterman can get thrown around in the league and get a contract, and like nobody wants to take a shot on Justin Fields. When you really look at all the teams, the quarterbacks that have gotten picked up, I kind of just don't get it. See you later, man.
Maybe something leaks that they say, like a team says we went after him and they asked for a first rounder and we walked away. Like, we might start hearing some reasons why Fields isn't going. You know what I mean? Like, it might not. All the stories might not be fully told yet. But I do believe Fields is going to become relevant in the next 48 hours. I believe. And if he isn't, these teams, I don't know what they're doing. But at some point, the shift is going to switch to, okay, will the Bears accept backup QB trade value? And if they will, then a lot of teams will probably get involved. All right, Travis, anything else? We'll be back tonight.
Yeah, just quick. Earlier on, I meant to mention that they've talked about May to the Vikings, and Josh McCown was actually Drake May's high school coach, so he knows him.
Yeah.
So that's something interesting just to check.
I don't know what I think of McCown. Everybody talks about McCown all the time. Part of me wonders.
I know.
You know, but what's McCown?
Obviously, they like him there. To bring him in, but.
I mean, he's a good football mind, but I don't know if I'd be calling him a great football mind. But we'll see. But yeah, there's the connections make it interesting for sure.
The more I see what the Patriots are doing, the more I just kind of hope they just sit where they are. And if it's May, it's May. If they can get to 85, I'd be really happy. But rather than start messing around, trading back, and doing this and that, we'll see.
All right, we'll see you tonight. Hopefully later. All right, I'm out of here. Appreciate every single one of you. We got 246 of you in the building. Only 108 thumbs up. Punch the thumb up button. If you're new to this channel, we're live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Every single Monday through Friday, your boy is here live on the Fantasy Football Show. YouTube.com/The Fantasy Football Show. The links to all these are in my description of the video. We also have a Dynasty channel, YouTube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football. We also have a Rumble channel, which I've completely ignored for the last week. We need to get over there on rumble.com/The Fantasy Football Show. But I'm live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern, like clockwork. That does not change. That never changes. We're always here. The main show here you're watching never has compromises. This takes priority over everything. But the Dynasty channel, the Rumble channel, I try and do those things as I can, but we're always here Monday through Friday. We're usually here every single graveyard shift as well, on top of being here Monday through Friday. And your boys live when big news breaks. So you tell me, no, the answer is nobody. I'll answer it for you. Who does it like we do? Nobody. Okay, so make sure if you're new, you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe if you watch all the time but haven't subscribed. Please hit that thumb up button on the way out the door, and I'll see you all tonight for the graveyard shift. Have your notifications turned on. I'll see you later. Thank you, Space Ricky. Thank you, Charles. Charles, did I ever get to Charles' super chat? Hold on a second. Charles, are you here? Poor Charles. He super chatted. Oh, no, he just super chatted. Okay. Space Ricky, thank you for your super chat, my guy. Chicago needs a better front office to have a good QB. I don't disagree with you, Charles, to be honest with you. That's why I want Fields out of Chicago. Look at this group right here. This looks like, what's this look like to you guys? Maybe a Dynasty video I dropped a little while ago. You might want to go watch the Dynasty channel. It's in the description of this video, youtube.com/Dynasty Fantasy Football. Search Dynasty Fantasy Football on YouTube. This video right here you'll see on that channel. But this also looks like a revenge tour group, if I've ever seen one.
It's time for some revenge, baby. Revenge tour, revenge tour. Revenge tour.
See you all later. Appreciate you. Charles to the moon. Sick Nasty to the moon. Thank you for the super chats. See you tonight.